In the blink of an eye, triumph can turn to tragedy on the Formula One circuit. Each turn, every lap, drivers flirt with the limits of physics, challenging fate at speeds that defy belief. But what happens when the edge is crossed? When the limits of machine and human capability are breached spectacularly? This is the untold drama of split-second decisions, of survival, and of the unforgiving nature of high-speed racing. Welcome to a journey that's not for the faint of heart. You're about to witness the most insane crashes in the storied history of Formula One. From unbelievable escapes to heart-wrenching moments that changed the sport forever. These are the harrowing tales of drivers pushing past the very edge of fear. Before we get into it, be sure that you can subscribe to our channel and join our growing community of F1 enthusiasts. It's much appreciated. Now, strap in, hold your breath, and prepare to experience the raw intensity and the dark side of motorsports like never before. This is F1's most insane crashes. The 1994 San Marino Grand Prix was a tragic event that will never be forgotten. During qualifying, Roland Ratzenberger, a rookie driver, missed a corner and crashed into a concrete barrier at speeds of over 190 miles per hour. Medical teams rushed to the scene, but unfortunately, Ratzenberger suffered a basal skull fracture and passed away. The worst part here is that the accident could have been prevented. On the lap before, Ratzenberger hit a curb and damaged his front wing. Instead of bringing the car down the pit lane, he decided to go for one more lap. That was the lap where the front wing failed, leaving him without control of his car. The 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix was the race that goes down in history for all the wrong reasons. In a terrifying crash, Romain Grosjean's car hit a barrier at high speed, trapping him inside as flames engulfed the wreckage. It was a horrifying moment, but amidst the chaos, Grosjean was saved by a piece of technology called the Halo. Not long introduced, this safety device, which Romain had previously disliked for its impact on visibility, proved to be his lifeline. The Halo shielded Grosjean's head from the impact and gave him a way to escape the burning car. It was a miracle that he survived, and a testament to the power of innovation in Formula One. Grosjean's accident shows that the Halo can save lives and prevent serious injuries. It's a reminder that innovation and technology can make a significant difference in the world of sports and help protect athletes from harm.
From Michael Schumacher literally escaping death into...
The 1978 Italian Grand Prix was one of the most exciting races of the season. Mario Andretti was leading the standings, with Ronnie Peterson and Niki Lauda close behind. However, Peterson had a rough start to the weekend after suffering a crash in practice. This meant he had to start the race with an older model car. The race started in an odd way, as the green light came on before all the cars were on the line. That meant that the drivers in the back had a running start. With differing speeds, James Hunt crashed into the back of Peterson's car, causing Peterson's car to veer right into the barrier. His car burst into flames, with him momentarily trapped inside. A group of drivers, including Hunt, rushed to free him until medical officials arrived on the scene. Unfortunately, Peterson suffered 27 fractures in his legs and feet and was declared dead the following morning. This was an even more tragic event because it was avoidable. The technical error with the green light on the opening lap led to the chaos. Without it, there's likely no crash, and this one doesn't end up on our list.
Start och målrakan, och det ser ut som ett flygfält. Det är brett, det är exceptionellt brett.
During the 2014 Japan Grand Prix, Jules Bianchi lost control of his Marussia in very wet conditions and collided with a recovery vehicle. The impact was so severe, it left Jules with a brain injury. The crash destroyed his roll bar, making the car slide underneath the crane. Bianchi was unconscious as safety officials removed him from the car, and now because of the weather, they couldn't fly him to the hospital. Bianchi's injury was so severe, he immediately went under surgery. He remained in hospital for months, but his condition didn't improve. Bianchi tragically died on July 7, 2015, a little over 9 months after his crash in Japan. This accident was the most serious in Formula One since Felipe Massa was hit by a suspension ring in 2009. This also left Massa in a life-threatening condition. Bianchi's crash led to Formula One implementing closed cockpits, which could have at least led to a less severe injury in this incident. In 1982, during the Belgian Grand Prix, a tragic accident occurred that took the life of Gilles Villeneuve, a Canadian Formula One driver. During qualifying, Villeneuve was trying to improve his position and lap time. In one attempt to overtake another racer, there was confusion as to which side he should pass on. Unfortunately, he chose right and collided with the other vehicle. The impact was so severe that Villeneuve's car flipped several times and his body was launched out of the vehicle. Despite being rushed to hospital, he passed away a few hours later. This was a devastating loss for the racing community, as Villeneuve was a talented driver who had achieved great success in his career. His legacy, however, lives on, and he is remembered as a Formula One great.
Gilles Villeneuve, the 1982 Belgian Grand Prix.
In 2016, Spaniard Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion, had a brush with death at the Australian Grand Prix. His McLaren crashed into Esteban Gutierrez as he approached turn 3 on lap 18 at the Albert Park circuit. Alonso's car immediately lost one wheel and crashed into the wall, reaching the gravel trap where he rolled twice, bounced off the ground and eventually stopped face down. Believe it or not from the images, the Spaniard walked away safe and sound, but the incident was a scare and it took him a little while to get over the shake-up.
Alonso's racing car immediately lost one wheel and crashed into the wall.
The 1955 Monaco Grand Prix was the site of one of the weirdest crashes in F1 history. Alberto Ascari, a two-time world champion, was battling for the lead with Stirling Moss when Moss's car suffered an engine failure. Ascari should have taken the lead, but his car missed the chicane and went straight through a barrier, plunging into the Mediterranean Sea. Everyone feared the worst, but Ascari miraculously swam to a nearby boat with only a broken nose. It was incredible to see him walk away with only a minor injury, considering his car went into the water. Ascari's luck didn't last. Only a few days later, he died in a testing crash, completely unrelated to his wreck at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Tremendous excitement. Ascari has overshot the chicane.
The Nürburgring circuit was known as one of the most dangerous tracks in the 1970s, and the 1976 German Grand Prix proved it. The race was scheduled to go ahead despite the rain on the forecast. Niki Lauda, one of the drivers, voted against running the race, but the majority voted in favour of it. After the first lap, most drivers pitted to put on dry tyres as the rain started to ease. Lauda's car snapped to the right and went head into the wall as he entered the straight. His car burst into flames and he couldn't escape it on his own. Thankfully, a few drivers were able to help him get out of the wreckage. Lauda suffered severe burns to his body and later lapsed into a coma. Miraculously, Lauda recovered from the crash and returned to racing just 6 weeks later. Lauda went on to win 2 championship titles before the end of his career, an incredible comeback after one of the worst crashes in F1 history. In 1961, during the Italian Grand Prix, a horrific accident occurred that claimed the life of Wolfgang von Trips and 15 spectators. On the second lap of the race, 2 cars collided, causing von Trips' car to spin out of control and strike a section of the spectators. Despite the tragedy, the race continued, and von Trips' teammate Phil Hill went on to win the race. Some drivers were not even aware that the crash had happened, let alone its severity, until after the race, leaving many to question why it hadn't been stopped. This accident is arguably the worst in F1 history and highlights the dangers of motorsports, in or out of the car. Ayrton Senna was a Brazilian 3-time Formula One champion who was leading the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix when he crashed his car into a wall on lap 7. The impact was so devastating that the car's front wheel and nose were torn off, the car spinning back onto the track with Senna motionless. The images that followed were some of the darkest days in Formula One history. Marshals and medics rushed to Senna's aid. They were, however, unable to save his life. It was later revealed that Senna suffered multiple neck fractures, crushing of the forehead, and rupturing of the temporal artery. Senna was the most special of drivers, and his death was a huge loss for the sport. Formula One is an inherently dangerous game, and Senna's passing was the first to result from an on-track incident in over 20 years. Since then, the sport has undergone significant changes to circuit and car design, as well as improved safety procedures to, considering the risks, produce a remarkable safety record.
He attempted to make a turn, only for his vehicle to skid off the track and crash into a wall.
And that is a wrap on our intense journey through F1's most heart-stopping moments. It's been a bumpy ride through some of the toughest times in the sport's history. But remember, every twist of metal, every leap from danger, it's all a part of the sport's bigger picture. Every crash we've witnessed isn't just a moment of shock. It's a chapter in the ongoing story of improving this sport we love so much. It's about honouring the courage of the drivers and the relentless pursuit of safety that follows. We pay tribute to the past, but also look ahead, using these lessons to drive a safer future in racing. Every safety innovation, every regulation update, they are all inspired by heroes on the racing track. So let's not just dwell on the crashes, let's also spark conversations about progress and how every race brings us closer to a future where the thrill of speed meets the pinnacle of safety. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep the discussion going and share your thoughts below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more insights into the sport that never quits. You're all part of the grandstand that cheers on the future of racing. Until next time, this has been F1 Racing Now, your inside track to all things F1.